everybody, and welcome to this, the Large Blast podcast, the podcast that has 4 gold stars at McDonald's. That's right, it's the worst jobs in the universe edition. I'm your host, Stoney, and I'm joined, as always, by Matt.
You are fired.
And Welshie.
When I'm cleaning windows.
And we like to get things kicked off with a little something we call hobbies goings on, where we take a little look into what's been happening in the hosts' lives in terms of they've been doing hobby-wise. So, Welshie, what have you been up to?
Well, the eager-eared listener will know that last episode I boldly proclaimed that I was going to start and finish the Leviathan box set in a single weekend. Suffice to say that has not happened. And at some point I will put out a video explaining how it takes fucking ages to print to paint Warhammer. And those 50-second videos you see on Instagram even tricked me, who's been painting for decades, into thinking I could go faster than I can. But I've made good progress. I've got some the barb gaunts, the dudes with like the guns coming out of their back, they're pretty much done except for highlights. The new Stern Guard vets, they're pretty much done except for highlights, and the new apothecary, same deal. So I should have 3 units done within 10 days of when I started my 2-day challenge.
Ooh, how many units are in the box?
I'm less than halfway through.
Okay. Oh, damn it.
It's always much harder than it seems.
I got through I got up early. I set the plan. I did the cutting and the sticking really quick. I was really impressed with how quick I got everything together. And then the painting just takes ages. And I think because the models are so nice, I didn't want to do a rush job. And then on top of that, there's so many more details on modern models than there were before, especially starting with like the Stern Guard vets. They've got about 100 odes of moment and boxes and trinkets and bits on them. So I'm taking my time. So if you wanted to see me paint the whole box, well, there's never going to be a video of that, but there'll be a video of me being happy about getting some of it done at some point.
Oh, well, there we go. I mean, that was quite a challenge, to be fair. I didn't even realize that you were going to put them together as well. I sort of assumed that you at least had them assembled and then were then going to try to paint them. But
you can say stupid. It's fine. Icosarian, perhaps.
So, Matt, what have you been up to? Are you painting NIDs and is it NIDs and Terminators and stuff for you now, or is it still, have you snuck in a few Bretonians and sisters as of old?
No, I had about a week and a half off, and I'm back to building some tyranids, and that's basically all I'm going to do for the next couple of weeks. I think just build the tyranids and paint them from the set. Got a pretty quick color scheme. So
are you doing them in that white you've done your space op gene stealers in, Matt? Yeah, that's a cool color scheme.
Well, she looked after my cat while I was away, and the tyranids got up to mischief in my cabinet.
A few blood angels were taken down.
Blood angels taken down.
Yeah, them. Dante himself had left.
He didn't 69 your guard models, did he? What happened?
No. There was like 5 Terminators down. Mephiston.
Yeah.
It was all on Mephiston. He was left. What was his original name?
Bit
what
of
was
a
he called
pile
back then?
Claudio.
Yeah, Claudio. Yeah.
You haven't even mentioned the dump he took in the bed. That's how upset you are about this stuff that happened to the Warhammer.
Yeah, other than that, Tyranids. I'm thinking about, I kind of want to do the Terminators, but I might do the Apothecary next, because he's a very different color scheme to the rest of them. So, yeah.
Well, that's good.
I found it really hard to choose. I actually picked at random from the box. So I made a little pot and I picked a character from each side and a unit from each side at random, just because I didn't want to just immediately pick my favorite thing,
Yeah.
And that was quite nice.
Cool.
What
about you?
Oh, well, I haven't had a lot of time to do a whole lot of much recently, but I'll tell you what I have been doing. What they can't take away from you when you're working, and that is your brain. I've been doing a lot of thinking, haven't I? I've been doing a lot of thinking up in my brain about what I would like to do when I've got a bit more time, because I've still got, as you guys know, I've got a couple of ZBrush projects on the go, which I need to finalize. I've done some prints for. I think I'll tell you one thing I did do. I talked a while ago about how the priest guy I made, I wanted to try to do that marbling on him, where you get the baby white. Like, it's not as easy as they make it look in the video, is it? I'll tell you what, like, because I had to go at that, and my efforts came out looking very shitty. I can tell you that much. But it's a bit different because it's like not really a very flat surface, so it's got kind of like divots and things in. So,
okay.
But either way, was very disappointed with my one effort to do that. I didn't take a whole lot of time on it, to be honest with you, but I just had a crack. And like,
Did you do it with an airbrush? Do you have an airbrush now?
I did it with spray paints.
Oh, okay. I've never tried it with spray paint.
Oh, okay. It's with an airbrush. All right. Well,
I think that's how Matt did his, but
yeah. Though I have seen someone suggesting that it's better to use it's like a form of wire wool. Maybe you could try that.
Okay. Well, either way, that's all I really managed to do. But like I say, I've been doing some thinking, and I've got these projects I need to finish off. I've got some ideas to do like a kind of like a Garden of Nurgle type thing. Just like make some scenery bits. I talked before about how I had a hankering to make some big stuff, do some scenery, and I figured like, oh, that'd be real fun. Do the Garden of Nurgle, like make some pieces for the Garden of Nurgle. So I thought about making these like Venus fly traps with like real kind of human teeth. So I've ordered some of these like fake like human teeth kind of thing, and I'm going to make these kind of like weird like Venus fly traps with like human teeth, and I also wanted to make like a kind of a little pool with like kind of like a sort of a demon's head sticking out the top, like kind of frog's head style that you can fill with like resin, you know, and like so awesome. You know, maybe make a little series of like some Garden of Nurgle stuff or something like that.
You know how the Venus flytraps have got the little hairs in that trigger them shutting? You could have them like pubes. Like curly hairs.
Pubes and teeth. Nice, yeah. Well, I'd be hard come by finding the pubes because I am waxed like a turtle shell down there. So it's not. It's the news. Wow. It's the chuffing news.
Have you heard? Sixes are now fours.
It's the news.
Gene Stealer Limo's back.
News.
Can we just give a shout out to Jeffrey Benjamin White, who commented on our Emperor's Tarot YouTube video? A very nice comment. Saying that he listens on other media, but he wanted to give us a comment on the YouTube, and
is he on the
really
warp
nice
stream?
Comment.
Perhaps is he tapping into our secret warp stream?
He is.
Big up Jeffrey Benjamin White. Big up yourself. Hold tight.
Cool.
May the sixes be with you. Nerd fight. That's right. First bit of news is Cool versus Bile in the new book Gene Father. Throwing down this Sunday to find out once and for all who is the toughest of the Gene Fathers. Will it be the bald-headed might of Fabius Bile, or will it be the many tendril nonsense of Cool? Who knows? Let's find out.
I'm very excited by this book. I'm very excited. The only bit of kind of snippet of story they've released for this is essentially Cool has called the greatest minds of the Imperium in for a meeting to try and work out how the Necron pylons work. And Fabius Bile's just gate crashed it. He wasn't invited. He's just turned up. And apparently he's like, I'm the greatest mind. Why didn't you invite me? I've been around for 10,000 years too, old man.
See, it's proper pro wrestling. It's proper pro wrestling storyline. Two nemesis coming up against each other. He's going to like, I bet Cool's going to have like a sexy manager wife that he's got, and Fabius Bile's going to steal her away. Be like, Lady Penelope or something. No.
And it's written by Guy Haley as well, who I know writes a lot of the 40k fiction nowadays, but is responsible for some of my favorite Primarch books as well. The Perturabo one, the Night Haunter one, which I must have referenced about 1 million times on this podcast. So yeah, I'm hoping for good things from this. I'm hoping for a bit of comedy and a bit of fun. I think
it's going to be
kick off.
It's going to be full of comedy, isn't it? Like, But also, people are saying, could this be the beginnings of how Games Workshop write in Chaos Primaris Marines?
Oh, good point. Yeah, that's what he's really there for. He's there to steal the Primaris idea. The amount of new Chaos kits they've released recently, like it would. I think it would piss a lot of people off if they suddenly increase the scale very slightly from the slightly bigger Chaos Marine. Me being one of them.
Although, I mean, there's one range that we know that they haven't released yet: Fulgrim and the Emperor's Children.
Kiss goodbye to resin. Forge World resin is out the way. We're getting old resin. We're getting the Castator and the Archeron Knights, but they're no longer resin. They're in plastic. It's starting to happen, people. Resin is resigning.
Bruh.
It's happening. It's plastic time. It's the era of plastic. What do we reckon to these?
I think these are weirdly sexy, actually. I think it's the long legs.
They have got like, yeah, if they turn around and they've got like a real nice arse on them, it's like, hang on a minute.
There's a couple of tight nuts I can see there as well. Ooh. Yeah, I think these are cool. If I played Imperial Knights, I'd be well happy that there was a different shape I could put on the board from the two shapes that I currently have available. So I don't know. I don't know enough about Imperial Knights to know if these are playable in 40k. They're plastic for new Horus Heresy for definite, but I'm sure they are. Like almost all the Knights are.
Yeah, they are. But I wonder how different the kits are to the older resin ones.
I was just thinking that because sometimes, I mean, like especially with some of the newer kits, the way they snap together, it doesn't always seem like, oh, it's the most obvious. When you snap them out of the kit, it sometimes feels like, how the fuck does this go together? And then eventually you kind of so hopefully this is just nice and simple: arms, legs, body, panels, nice, easy, kind of self-explanatory stuff, rather than like a weird thing where the head and the toe are connected by some weird spine and the massive cheeks that we were talking about, or something like that. So
yeah, reviews people I've been speaking to about the Horus Heresy stuff is some of it, the plastic stuff makes no sense. It's like you have to stick each individual finger on a Terminator power fist. It's like pointlessly complex plastic Warhammer. But then
for the people that missed resin,
yeah, exactly. But these look cool. I every time I see a knight thing released now, though, it makes me want to play Chaos Knights, because all I think of when I look at them is making them converted and grotesque. But alas, I have too many armies on the go. One day, perhaps.
Don't worry, you can do them in a weekend, Welshie. Let's get them going. Because Epic, it's finally happening. It's coming back. We had Adeptus Titanicus, whatever, the big ones, but now we're getting even smaller. Is it the same scale? Is it coming back? Why are we looking at Epic models here, boys? Is Epic coming back?
Yes, essentially. Yeah. It's a different scale to the original Epic, but confirmed, because we weren't sure last time we mentioned this. You can use the Adeptus Titanicus models. They are the same scale. You can use the Adeptus Titanicus terrain, which is really cool. And you can even use the planes from Aeronautica Imperialis. It's all in the same book. So you can play proper big scale Horus Heresy battles, which, other than having to paint any of the models, I find very exciting.
Yeah, for sure. So what is the point in Adeptus Titanicus now? Does it still exist, or is it a different game? What's happening? It's just a different big scale game.
Yeah, I reckon it's kind of, I guess, to this new version of Epic, which is called something else ridiculous, like something Imperialis Latiny. I guess people that play Titanicus are a bit like people that have Titans for 40k. Do you know what I mean? Like the scale is much bigger, so you could probably only have like one of those and half an Epic army if you were to play one of the big Titans from within Titanicus.
So it's even more zoomed out in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the models are really, I mean, I am terrified at the prospect of painting any of these, apart from maybe having to go at the mini tanks. But the paint jobs that the studio team have done on these tiny models, the tanks are incredible. And the models they're literally a quarter the size of Space Marines of a standard Space Marine. I think they're amazing.
They have done, an amazing job of them. They've done the eyes on them, which kind of boggles my mind. But but the model, the actual miniatures, the tiny miniatures aren't really that appealing to me. Obviously, they're kind of like cool and a bit of novelty, but the tiny tanks and stuff look cool. They're a bit like micro machines.
Yeah,
the micro machines.
The tiny tanks really caught my eye. What's the Solar Auxiliary?
Did you see Auxilia? It's the Malkador battle tank there, Matt.
But the Malkadors are like one and a half times longer than a Lehman Russ. Quite cool. But the Lehman Russes really caught my eye. I mean, I'd be tempted if they sell them separately to get like a pack of 3 just to paint. I think it'd be really cool.
I think it'd be a fun challenge to do for, like, if you were just entering Golden Demon or one of the small scale painting competitions, to just have a crack at a few of these. But balk at the idea of painting
I
a
mean-
whole army.
I remember like Forge World used to have entire ranges of stuff to go with Epic. Like they did all the Tau army and loads of different aircraft. And I don't know. I mean, we've said maybe Forge World's disappearing slowly, but I wonder whether Forge World will bring out other models to go with this new game system.
I'd love
because there's
to
got to
see
be
that, 'cause
more
this
ranges.
This is set very much in 30k what they're releasing. So it would be amazing for them to finally release some of the Xenos that we hear about in 30k that we don't get in 40k.
Yeah.
Like if they did the Mega Arachnids epic or something like that, then I would. That's how you get me, Games Workshop. Bring out some Xenos epic.
I mean, that's got to be that's a good point though, because we've rumored to get a Xenos Codex this year, and we have always said like it'd be really fun to have a Horus Heresy army that isn't a Space Marine or human, because they all are, and maybe they could bring out the Mega Arachnids, and in 40k someone's found them somewhere and they've appeared back in the galaxy and they're an army that comes out in both game systems at the same time.
Yeah,
I mean that would make sense.
That would be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm going to use this segue into Unknown Xenos Codex, Matt, to read a little passage for the listeners from the new rule book that I found. I haven't read the whole thing of the new lore in the new rule book, but there is a sentence in one of the little boxes that I picked up on that said,
"Swear to you, I know what I damn well saw. Xenos aboard flying vessels, snatching up tyranids in barbed nets as though they were game."
Remember last episode I said to you I'd read something that seemed to imply the tyranids were running away from something, although what you've read there doesn't necessarily mean that. But yeah, I read that as well. Yeah, and that really caught my eye. It's really interesting.
Is that the first mention of the Xenos that are chasing the Tyranids? It could just be Dark Eldar catching some to experiment on.
Maybe there's some kind of cool like Predator style. I mean, they've already ripped off Alien. Why not rip off Predator? You know, some cool guy that goes around like hunting gene stealers, like for honor or whatever. And you know, you get like four of them in an army, and they just kick the shit out of everything or something like that. You know,
that'd be really cool. You heard it here first.
Rolling in my 6-4.
Hello and welcome to the Warhammer 40k Careers Allocator. I am here to allocate you the perfect Warhammer job based on your present-day credentials. I will take into account everything from your IQ to skills and abilities and work out how best you could be used to serve mankind. Hold still whilst I scan you. Processing now. Processing done. Here is your Warhammer job.
Hi, new grunt level employee, and welcome to Inquisitor Matthew's Breaded Turkey and Bio-Gruel Centre.
Respecting the boss.
Punctuality.
Good attitude.
Making it happen.
These are just some of the qualities needed for your new position as decapitator and head gut sucker on the poultry disemboweling machine. Sure, the pay might seem low, and the employee accident rate might seem very high, but every employee at Inquisitor Matthew's Breaded Turkey and Bio-Gruel Emporium saves a fortune in accommodation costs by working 24-hour days in our factory. This Herculean task is only made possible by our own patented turkey steroids that every employee is contractually obliged to inject 3 times a day. And when eventually that you too become so strong that your eyelids become way too muscular to close, and therefore sleep is impossible to you, you too will choose to lose yourself in the bliss of working at Inquisitor Matthew's Breaded Turkey and Bio-Gruel Emporium. You start Monday at 8.
Terrible jobs, the worst jobs around. Worst jobs in 40k, they've got to be twice as bad, right? 40,000 times as bad, surely. So, what do we guys think is some of the worst jobs in 40k?
I think first thing to say is that there are endless things we can talk about as part of this, aren't there?
Yeah.
Like just being a human, we've discussed before. Even if you think you've got one of the better jobs, your life's pretty crap overall. So worse is a pretty low bar.
So what about being unemployed in the 40k universe? Maybe that's the we haven't even signed on yet. What's it like for us? I guess like begging, living in the sump, living under a grate or something. You know, if you're living in a feral world, you might be living in a jungle, like under a fucking leaf, trying to fend off weird animals and leeches and shit, like diseases.
Maybe it's more fun though. Maybe there's a better sense of community, like on the streets of the sump. You know, you're gonna get swept up into a gang. It's not going to be one of the good gangs, but, you know, that might be better than sitting at a desk alone in an administratum building for the rest of your life. At least there's a bit of...
The middle-class lifestyle is always the most boring. It's true. In any year, any century.
You can be down the corner drinking your gut rot, spending the 1 shekel that you earned scraping shit off someone's shoe, you know. That's but that might be a good laugh, good bit of
wrestling a sausage out of a dog's mouth for dinner, you know. Whatever,
and then eating the dog.
Wrestle the sausage out, beat the dog with the sausage, eat the dog. Yeah, classic. You've doubled on your investment right there.
Well, while we're down in the sumps, one of the jobs that I found is called a sump dredger, which is exactly what you think it is. It's essentially a sewage man for a hive. But I was thinking, I don't know, I couldn't really work out whether that's a sewage man's kind of a sewage man. I mean, what's the difference with a sewage in 40k that makes it worse than here? I guess the things that are living inside it, maybe.
Well, Andy, I think there's 3 things there. Yeah, like you say, there's the wildlife. There's the sheer amount of it, I imagine, and also the kind of just reckless disregard for human life in 40k. So, you know, maybe you might have been forced to go down there by the gang to, I don't know, whatever. You've got to sift through shit to find valuables that like got flushed down the toilet or something dumb like that. Who knows? Or like looking for whatever. And
you're definitely gonna have more dead bodies in the sewage, aren't you? At the like bottom of a hive city than your average sewage man here in the second, third millennium.
And the diet of people. What's that? They're eating corpse starch. There's all kinds of like. Do you know what I mean? There's far less vegans and that sort of stuff going on. Yeah, there might be. Imagine an Ogren dump. Imagine there's an Ogren house there or something. You're dealing with one of those, like fucking. You know, that's not going to be handy.
Do you think you have to call the sump dredger out? Like, if you've got a mate that's an Ogren and he's come over to your normal sized toilet house, do you think an Ogren shit actually just goes down, or you need a man round every time the Ogren comes?
Yeah, every time you need a plumber.
Like, he's take a shit in the water butt again. You got to get him out of it.
I mean, that's a pretty shit job. An Ogren,
The Ogren dump cleaner, the Ogren incontinence nurse. Yeah, that's a bad job. Yeah.
The Ogren squads, the units in the barracks have to have their own plumber. Yeah.
That's what it's called. But call the Ogren squad. Do you have an incontinent Ogren at your house dumping it up all over the place? Call Ogren squad. Like, Mr. Nibbles, you've been asleep by the fire for ages. That's not your massive cat. That's an Ogren dump. Call the Ogren squad. Yeah, that's got to be a bad job.
Yeah. What else? Sump rats are a thing, aren't they? They're going to be, the rats in the sewers are going to be, you know, Skaven sized at the very least.
Yeah. Plus, you probably have to there's going to be other sump dredgers or whatever around, and it's going to be a pretty fucking dog eat dog world down there. I guess you're probably going to end up having to fight a few other sump dredgers now and then for the best areas and things like that. I can't imagine, you know, I can't imagine you're going to be a life filled with kindness and joy. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be like fighting other people in a sewer to get trash out of people's
shit. You're saying there's no organized kind of dino rod service. It's every sump dredger for himself.
I'm saying there's a guy called Dino Rod, and he comes round with a big stick and pokes it down the bog, and that's what Dino Rod is.
Yeah, and he also kills people with it.
Exactly. Yeah, the one end of the stick is sharp, one end is covered with shit. It's your end, which side you get.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Because it kind of depends on what planet or what bit of imperial society you're from. Like, you could be from what do they call it, like a civilized world. You could probably almost live a life comparable to our own. Maybe they have podcasts, but you might be born on a death world, in which case any kind of job on a death world would be really shit.
You mean like a gardener on Catachan, for
Yeah,
instance?
yeah, a gardener.
That's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
To gardener here. You haven't got, imagine the Catachan version of Alan Titchmarsh.
Yeah, but they're constantly a different presenter every week on Gardener's World on Catachan because they keep getting eaten.
Just climbs onto the ride-on mower and it just gets eaten immediately by like an enormous plant.
Yeah. And I was also thinking about other death worlds, like they always talk about these planets that are kind of so isolated that they regress into like medieval society, and like there's peasants. But then, like you say, is that really, that's not kind of what we mean, is it? We mean a specifically kind of 40k bad.
You've also got to think that bad, for that instance, bad only seems bad if you know that there's something better. So if you live in like an old feudal peasant world where you have no knowledge of a really highly technologically developed world on the edge of Tau space,
and have almost no knowledge of what's out there, I mean that's almost like the best job you can hope for in the Imperium.
But the humble turnip farmer out here on the old Worldian 5 or whatever.
Yeah. Some of the biggest jobs are kind of like a double-edged sword, like being an Imperial governor. Can you imagine being a governor of a feudal world? That, I mean, I guess you get
be high stress, but you're going to have you're basically going to have whatever you want. Maybe a governor in a world under attack that is not getting any help from from the Imperium.
Yeah, I feel like the stakes are pretty high. You know, like a governor these days, sure, you can get disgraced in the news or whatever, and kind of but it's very rare that they go to prison or get shot in the head or get like their planet exploded or tortured or anything
by
like
the Inquisition.
So I feel like the stakes are a lot. Politics now is a lot kinder on its governors than it is in the 40,000 for a year.
Yeah, that's
similar lines to that. I thought a job that's kind of double-edged sword is a commissar. Because we read all these books about like heroic commissars, whether it's by accident or by just being good. But it's got to be quite a hard job keeping all those men in line all the time.
Yeah.
Or what if you're really shit? A shit commissar.
Yeah. Well, I think this is one of those things, isn't it? It's like they're so spoilt for numbers in the 40,000 universe. They've actually got like a plethora of people that are quite good at doing things. So you can just afford to be like, right, you're a commissar, aspirational enough to like make this peasant work his way up to a commissar for like 3 days before he gets shot in the head for tying his shoelaces wrong and committing some kind of heresy. So it's like, so they're kind of they can afford to do that, isn't it? It's this huge scale of 40k, which is why it's allowed to be so cruel to all its citizens, really.
Yeah,
but you do have a lot of responsibility to like never show weakness, almost never show fear.
Commissars don't cry, that kind of thing.
yeah.
There's kind of a mental health drive to get commissars to talk more about their feelings and experience.
Yeah. I was thinking in a way, a really bad job in the Imperium is a Space Marine. I mean, you have to go through the whole process. You sometimes you might get picked not by your choice. It basically becomes your job because it becomes your life. You can't do anything else. You have to go through an insane selection procedure depending on the chapter that you're selected for, and then you're genetically modified so that you are very difficult for you to die, and you just have to go from one battle to another. You lose all contact with where you're from. You change your name, you change your identity. Most of them forget their previous lives, as they consider it, and then you're just a genetically modified war machine who's kind of no longer human. I mean, that's
still
worse being a servitor,
shit, though.
I don't know.
Like in a way,
in a way,
at least you're given the you're given the the Space Marines, they believe in what they're doing. At least they're given all the tools to go out and kind of have fun. It's like that old kind of like
unless you're
idea,
a Raven Guard.
Or you're driving the ATV.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they kind of want to go and fight, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Like they all want to go and fight stuff, and they're allowed to go and fight with like big guns and like die heroically. So they're kind of doing what they want to do, even if they have been brainwashed into doing it.
Yeah, if they don't want to, they feel they have to and don't have a choice in it, like the Lamenters. I'm sure
it's true, but they ended up, I mean, we all know what happened to them. If you listen to the last episode, you'll hear about their lamely emo death. But but this does bring me to a job I wanted to bring up, which is the plasma gun guy.
Oh yeah,
I feel like that's a really like bad job, because even amongst the Space Marines, it's like, you've been doing really well, brother. It's time you get a promotion with this Russian roulette gun. Here you go. Like grab a hold.
You can imagine, like, you've got that first day, and all your mates like, go on, turn it up. Turn it up to the open. Turn it up onto the high setting. Go on.
We all know the pain in spending the extra money for the plasma gun only to have it blow up on the very first turn and kill the guy carrying it. So
they've adjusted that now as well. So yeah.
Oh, have they? Does it not happen?
No, it does. It's hazardous. It happens. It does more damage to squads with multiple ones of them in, and less damage to characters. So characters don't insta-die, they take like a few wounds, but there's more chance of troops dying with them now.
Well, still, fuck plasma guns. Fuck being a plasma gun guy.
Yeah.
Being like...
I always feel a bit sorry for guys with power fists as well, because like your day-to-day task during the war is just going to be a real pain in the ass. Imagine going to the toilet and not being able to like undo your flies and hold down with one hand. Everything's one-handed.
Yeah. How does Calgar get on? Like that guy must be useless and shit.
He's probably got guys to do it for
him. They got nappies.
They probably love it. Maybe that's the worst job, being Calgar.
Oh yeah,
Calgar's
urinal
assistant. Yeah.
Well, I mean that I kind of wanted to talk about serfs, like the failed Space Marine. So you try to be a Space Marine, you volunteer to be a Space Marine, let's say hypothetically you really want to be a Space Marine, it's all you've ever wanted to do, and you fail the test. You fail like the last test, or you fail every test, you're really shit, and then you just have to serve Space Marines for the rest of your life. They're the ones that would hold the Space Marine penis while it's pissing into the urinal. I mean, I
always think it'd be worse being like a Dark Angel serf, because I imagine them being a little bit like King Arthur in the like Disney Arthur film. But then not only are you a serf, but next to you is like a walking blanket who's even better at being a serf and is psychic.
Oh yeah,
they don't even need you because they've got the watchers in the dark, but you're still there cleaning dick towels.
Yeah, that's it. The little fucking invisible psychic man throwing his dick towels in for you to watch with all the other dick towels. For fuck's sake!
Not only are you a serf, but you're being bossed around by a Fantasia walking cloak.
Maybe that's what happens. Like, maybe that's what they are, is like all the unwashed dick towels like come to life and turn into watchers in the dark.
People say those clothes are going to stand up on their own. That's
Oh god, that's gross.
I'm glad you said that though, Matt, because I had a little game we could play called Top Gimps.
It's Welshie's Gimp section, where we shine a spotlight on some of the best sidekick gimps in Warhammer.
I thought of the little Biophagus Gene Stealer gimp with the conical flask. I thought
he's
of
cool.
Helbrecht's got the gimp.
He's got
the
some classic gimps, yeah.
Fabius Bile's got the like little twisted, broken spine gimp with all of the spikes coming out of him. There's a number of good old gimps.
Fabius Bile's gimps are very cool. Does the cat from the Eldar kit count as a gimp? The Sphinx thing or whatever?
Maybe. Is that probably some rubbish Eldar lore about like
he's probably just like a familiar
stone being its asshole or something like that? I don't know.
Oh, the ultimate gimp, Macarai. Let's not forget.
He has to get sat on for a while, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Isn't that where he went?
He's the luckiest gimp in the universe.
Dies every time.
At some point, if you're going to be that much of a gimp, you probably get a bit of Stockholm syndrome with those boys, though. They're probably loving it. That guy, rubbing Helbrecht's sword. When he gets off work and he goes down the pub, that story, Everyone's heard it 1,000 times, but he's still going to tell everyone about how he spent the day rubbing Helmbrecht's sword.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just like rubbing one of the iron banister things, one of the brass banisters in there, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's doing it again." He's getting like, someone's like, "Why are you rubbing that brass banister?" It's like, "Oh, well, funny you should mention it. I've been rubbing swords all day, haven't I? Oh God, only Helmbrecht's sword needed it cleaned up again."
So I had Space Marine related. I found a job called a gland warmer. And it's not about rubbing swords. Don't worry, it's not a glands warmer, a gland warmer. And these are people that are employed to look after the gene seed stores.
Oh, cool.
And they just have to go around and monitor that the gene seed is healthy, pop it under the microscope every now and then, see if it's still swimming around. That's how I imagine gene seeds.
Oh, man.
Like
Games Workshop knew what they were fucking... we'll call it a gland warmer. Oh, what do they do? Oh, they're basically just like admin scientist type guys. Like, fuck off, Games GW. We know what you're thinking. We know what you meant when you said gland warmer.
But they even have to do like the insertions, because I reckon that's a pretty horrible experience. Like Matt, you were saying being a space marine is a bad job. That bit where you transfer from a human to a space marine or fail to die.
Yeah.
Overseeing that over and over again, watching people either go mad or like fight through continuous pain for ages. That's got to be pretty tough.
Yeah, or is it? I mean, they're just like medical staff.
Maybe they, like you're saying, they're all just a bit psycho. I mean, if they were all Dark Eldar, then maybe they'd love it.
Yeah.
More about that next episode. But and just like an average guy being employed and seeing humans being pulled in and put through hell on a day-to-day basis.
But there might be lots, you probably see a lot of that anyway. Like, even if you just like looking at a servitor or whatever, you're just like, that is a man that has been ripped to pieces and had wires shoved in his head, clearly. It's like
I mean, what if you were on the medical staff for turning people into servitors? That would be pretty horrendous, because you surely every time the medical bed is empty, you're thinking, am I next?
But half of those people are probably half robot anyway, aren't they? Like
but there must be. What if you're the human cleaning staff that has to clean the medical bay afterwards every day?
Oh God, you've got to clean all the brains off the fucking drills and stuff.
Then you really would be thinking, like, am I gonna be on that bed tomorrow?
Yeah. Yeah, they're just like, can you just go in and clean the like dismembering cupboard again? You're like, oh please no, I'm pretty sure it's clean in there.
When we talked about planets, I did also think probably, in my view, one of the worst planets to grow up on would be a Forge world, and inevitably at some point you would get a job, even if you were not massively altered by the mechanicum. There would still be like, your first job when you're 14, 15. I mean, there's got to be some pretty horrendous jobs on there.
Just working on factory lines.
And the pollution, just going out. You'd have to have like lots of them. They're like, they've got to wear masks, or they sort of they mutate to have gills or something fucking weird, don't they? Just because of like the amount of like smog and shit. That would be gross.
Do you think you get any days off in 40k? Like as part of your contract, do they have weekends on a Forge world?
I mean, on a Forge world, I don't know.
It's not going to be unionized, that's for sure.
I was going to say we have a weekend because of unions, but I can't imagine them having. But at the same time, I mean, hypothetically, the Mechanicum run on the AdMech run on quotas and percentages, and if giving your human workforce one day off staggered, so you always
way too HR for 40k. No.
Then maybe you're better at hitting your production quotas.
If you get the same percentages by like starving them when they don't work hard and hitting them with an electric baton, then they're going to go for that, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you said earlier, there's enough people to replace any that die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of other kind of war roles. We mentioned them a long time ago, but being part of the Penal Legion has got to be those guys are sent into the worst places. I pulled out a list of some of the most famous Penal Legion, and it's like worst battles ever. The Battle of Malhot in the Sabbat Worlds, the Siege of Rachis, Hades Hive, which is the Necropolis Gaunt's Ghost model, and Istvan 3 are the foremost highest percentage penal legion involvement.
But is a penal legion a job?
Oh, you're more of a slave. Is that what you're?
Yeah, because you're a prisoner. Yeah, you've kind of forfeited your job.
Don't you kind of join the penal legion? I mean, don't you have, or is it just like they just get prisoners?
I think they just get prisoners.
I don't think it's like a Suicide Squad scenario where you get to say no if you don't want your freedom.
No, I just mean that surely, like, you know, after, like, just in general, it's probably a good idea to not give some certain prisoners guns, you know, like there's just a general vetting process of giving people with nothing to lose access to weaponry is generally, but I guess that's what really differentiates them at that point from an Imperial Guardsman if they come from a shit world and you're, you know, if you live on a good world, good world and you go to a penal legion, what's really the difference between if you live on a shit world and you don't go to a penal legion, you know? So it's
I think it's more in the commander's choice. So the penal legions, you know, you're more likely to be used as bait or cannon fodder. I know you're still very likely to be that in any Imperial Guard, but
did the old models used to have like kind of those bomb collars on, you know, the classic bomb collar threat that I believe was so expertly used in Fortress, starring Christopher Lambert, a classic movie you guys should check out if you ever get the chance.
Okay.
I don't seem to remember seeing models like that. No.
The only models I can think of that are penal legion were the Last Chances.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen any other penal legion ones, but that's a cool concept though, to make a guard regiment with like that kind of bomb collar. I've seen a few people painting up guard in like prison suits, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, the kind of Guantanamo squad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could do that. Have some Guantanamo guys in there, some famous Guantanamo Bay. You
can have Harold and Kumar as your sergeant.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not penal legionaries then. Maybe we just.
I mean, Imperial Guard's pretty bad because
just in general,
you probably never go home again,
and
you're just thrown into. And as we said, it depends on what planet you're from, what type of regiment you end up in. If you're in a good regiment and from a civilized world, you've probably got an okay job. But if you're in a really bad planet, say a feudal world, and you join the Imperial Guard and you're in a badly equipped Imperial Guard regiment and you get shipped off to fight the Tau with your sickle and shovel, you're not really, I mean, that's a pretty shit job. You're gonna die.
Yeah.
And even if you survive, you're never going home.
What about like auxiliary jobs in the Guard, like being a cook? You know, cooking for everybody.
I mean,
that's probably the best place to be on the battlefield.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can imagine that you're going to get a lot of shit all day from hungry guardsmen, but you can't provide them anything other than some corpse starch, and you're sweating in a tent in the fire. At least if you're on the front line, it might be a quick run and death over the top.
And you've got some ranged weapons rather than like a meat cleaver. If a gene stealer comes out of the cooking pot, then you're not so good. But I mean, similar to the penal legions, but the press ganged people that go into the navy and are stuck on the naval ships, basically they don't see the stars, there's no windows, they're doing all the really laborious work on a starship. And their deaths.
Like the guys shoveling coal in the Titanic.
In
the depths.
In the depths of the ship. Yeah. Just because you've been rounded up by a press gang by the million, and your death probably isn't even recorded. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, all those ones it's a bit like being a space marine again, or any of those ones, isn't it? It depends. You've really got to get on board with the message if you want to have a good time in the Imperium, don't you? You've really got to be like, yeah, you know what, I believe in it. I want to go boots on the ground. I'm going to get my my shiny medals and all that kind of stuff. If you actually want to because otherwise, if you're just there being like, mate, this is shit, then you're going to have a bad time. It's going to be a bad job. So yeah.
That's true. You said there, if you're in the Imperium, so I was looking up, like, is there anything bad in the greater good? What's the Tau version of a bad job? And the most I could find was you can be cast out of the water caste. Like that's so you can still get work, you're just not officially part of the caste. Or actually, there was another one that was called a Vespid strain breeder. So those are the guys that are involved in like sexing the Vespids. Making new wasp people.
Jacking off wasp people. You're collecting, you're studying out set like that weird business in selling like animal cum all over the planet.
Yeah. And you could put it online, couldn't you, and call yourself the Hornet.
Yeah.
Multiple levels.
That's great.
Then the worst thing, according to the Tau, would be to be a gay. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but I'm going to say it like this anyway. Gay Vassa laborer, which is Tau for human. So a human slave to the Tau is about as bad as it gets. But it seems like all in all, it's probably better than any job in the Imperium. So yeah, I think working for the Tau.
You only get one margarita a day.
I was just thinking, like, yeah, I mean, it's almost easier for us to say what a good job is in the Imperium.
But that's a whole other episode, Matt. So let's not do that now.
All right. What else? What other ones have we got?
Well, we can go out of the Imperium or we can stay in it. But I think Astropath has got to be up there as one of the worst jobs in the Imperium.
They're one of the navigator type guys, are they?
Not the navigators, but because
they send the messages.
Navigator's weird because you're just a weird person and everyone hates you. But the navigator houses are all quite rich. So I think your upbringing is really nice if you're a navigator because they're so few and far between. So you're respected kind of financially, but everyone hates you.
Like Baron Trump.
The first navigator.
What's
that on your forehead?
Where's his third eye?
Sweet Baron. The sweetest prince of New York. Baron Trump.
The first navigator house was the Trump house.
Whereas you're Astropath, so you've had a shit life because you're a psyker. Someone's come and rounded you up. People have thought you were weird forever. Then you're put on a ship and forced to essentially do emails, but by pouring your mind into literal hell. Constantly, all day, every day, like opening your mind to receiving messages. And like whenever you never read about a message being delivered to an Astropath in any of the lore that doesn't result in his eyes bleeding or his ears bleeding or his head exploding or like his guts falling out his asshole.
Yeah.
That's got to be up there as one of the darkest.
It's never good.
Shittest jobs.
Oh, that would suck if you went through all of that and it's like, it's 2-for-1 pizzas at Domino's or whatever. You're like, fuck, they're getting junk mail now.
Junk mail, Similar sort of vein, but I was thinking about the people that have to collect psychers to put on the black ships.
Right, yeah.
We go into that in a previous episode where they collect psychers to feed the Emperor, basically, or train them to be astropaths as well. But they send them back to Earth on the black ships. But a lot of them are children, and you kind of knowingly collecting children from across the Imperium, human children, knowing that they're going to be consumed by the Emperor on the Golden Throne, and that's kind of. I mean, that's got to be like
that's pretty
emotionally
dodgy.
difficult.
That's pretty dodgy. You got to be there looking for
70s BBC presenters.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there's probably more people than we'd like to imagine that are prepared to do that job.
You're really selecting for the wrong kind of person.
What's R. Kelly's crew up to these days? They could probably help out with it.
Yeah, you're right, man. That must be grim.
Yeah.
Maybe just like being around blanks, like any jobs that revolve you being, because the way that being around like a psychic null is described is like it feels you're constantly car sick. Like it is just horrible. Like if you've got to look after the psychic blanks, it must just be horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of did make me think about the Emperor and the tech priests and the tech adepts that have to maintain the Golden Throne, because they're the amount of responsibility that they have.
There's a lot of golden shit to clean up. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't think of the shit. We really on toilet run today.
I've got to hose down the golden throne again, boys.
but I was just thinking about the amount of responsibility. Just, if you're in the night shift and you're on watch, basically to check that all of the nuts and bolts are done up nice and tight, and everything is working within the right parameters. You're still going to be sitting there shitting yourself, like, what what the fuck what the fuck happens if I press this button? Or
Yeah.
This is why they need these levels of belief, because they've just you need to have you've got to be able to be like, oh yeah, maybe the emperor probably is guiding those people, to be honest with you. He's like, no, don't polish it.
Yeah,
like
maybe
that. I like my clothes done with the Persil. You've done them with Ariel.
Yeah, he'd be quite demanding if he's in your head all day, wouldn't he? But you can imagine the cleaner. Did you see that news story a few weeks ago about the cleaner? I think it was at Harvard, and she accidentally turned off a freezer
30
and lost
years.
£1 million worth of research.
Yeah.
You imagine just going out for the day and just turning off the lights and hitting the wrong button. Throwing powers down.
One. Yeah.
Yeah. That's always interesting hearing. I mean,
Can you imagine it making it to the news as well? That's the worst thing. Is you're just like, oh man, I know I made like a really bad mistake, but I'm ready to put it all behind me or whatever. And then like a week later, it's like in the fucking newspaper. You're like, for fuck's sake. Yeah.
There was a guy, and I mean, this is slightly off topic, but I always remember there was a guy in London a couple of years ago who flooded a tube station with concrete.
Well, that's what they do in the Siege of Terror. Perhaps that's how they get inspiration.
You saw a gene stealer down there. He's a fucking hero, that man.
Yeah.
Staying in the Imperium and back to the hive cities, one of the worst ones I found has got to be corpse starch processing man. Yeah. So their day is described as to process, recycle, and collect corpses from wherever they are found and reported.
You're just adding the salt and pepper and like tasting it. Like that needs more paprika or whatever.
There's more to it than that. It's not just screaming, bring out your dead. When you take them back, you have to put them through the extraction and disassembly process. So they're not even referring to them as like you're working in an environment that's already dehumanized the bodies that you're working with. Disassembly process. And then the next phase is nutrient extraction through normally maceration and other similar processes before having to quality control your own produce.
That
is grim. That is gross. Like, no pubes in the corpse starch bars, all right, if you're having complaints about teeth and pubes in the corpse starch bar.
It's that, like, I think it's the whole process. It's not just that it's not just Soylent Green with fresh bodies. This is like someone's rung you up, and the old sump dredgers rung you up and gone, oh, we found a bloaty one, come and collect it. And then you're having to cut that open, and it's pussing everywhere.
On a slightly different vein, what if you're just an adept that just has to copy reports day in, day out, just copy reports and don't get it wrong, and that's your entire life.
Well, there's copying reports. With that life in this world already, though, right, isn't there? As well?
Yeah, but there's even that same thing now where you're thinking like, I've done jobs, we've all done jobs like this where you think literally there are machines that can do this, and that's the same there. You could be in a library of 400 other people writing down things that a servo skull could be doing. But you're doing it because there's people are cheaper than servo skulls.
Hey, no robot can smoke weed in the car park like me on my lunch break, I'll tell you that much. I'll never be replaced.
I went out of Imperium too in looking at things as well. I think a lot of things are Dark Eldar, which we're going to do a whole episode on, but I wanted to give a special mention to the Slith bodyguards. Do you guys know about these guys?
The name rings a bell. Have we spoken about them in the Xenos episode?
Maybe
I don't know.
We spoke about,
but I don't know.
But they're the you see, and there's like one model in the Dark Angel Red. So they're like the snake people, and you often get one in like the Dark Eldar like High Command.
Yeah, those guys are cool. Yeah,
they're used by the Dark Eldar because they have a natural predisposition to loyalty. So they basically once they kind of swear a bond of allegiance to you. There's one of them in one of the Gaunt's Ghost novels, like one of the high command has one as a bodyguard, because once they swear allegiance to you, they're like completely loyal and they'll do exactly as you say. But what they've done is they've sworn allegiance to like a sadistic Dark Eldar boss who, like, any time he's had a bad day is going to take it out on you, but there's no way you're ever going to leave because you've sworn allegiance to them. So there's all these stories about like slick bodyguards that are being like having sections of their skin peeled off at the end of every day, yet they still can't leave their boss because
modern slavery.
Damn loyal. Damn. Well, I think I like being in one of the assassins guilds is pretty shitty as well. Like some of those guys have a pretty hard time, don't they? Like, who's the skull-faced boy, the eviscerator?
Eversaw.
Like, aren't they just like basically like mad the entire? They have to like put them
They're
to
basically
sleep,
locked
and
up,
they
aren't
just
they?
like
straight jackets until they get awoken and pumped full of friends on. That's one of the things they have.
The drug. Yeah.
Is it friends on? Is it
friends on is one, and then there's another one like Slort. Is that one?
Oh
that
is Slort or something. Yeah, something like that.
Stuff. Yeah, but that's pretty horrible. And I always get the Calidus and the Calexus the wrong way around, but whichever one's the shapeshifter, like being used to like, they always seem to be used to, shapeshift yourself into this sexy lady and go and fuck this Donald Trump-esque kind of high command guy and get all the information out of him. That must be, you're essentially a very high class prostitute at that point with no say in the matter.
That is true.
And the process that they have to go through, because they are like found as children. So, I mean, we mentioned about the Space Marines, but this is kind of on a whole another level, really. I mean, the stuff they go through is worse than the genetic modification a Space Marine goes through.
It's definitely best to be the Vindicare, because not only do you just have the most normal job shooting guns, but you also get to wear that suit that shows off your tight buns.
Yeah.
So, check out my package in this suit. Like, I look fucking sick.
Although, as we saw in that excellent first Hammer and Bolter episode, even that's pretty grim, the stuff that he goes through to train to be an assassin.
So my top one then, my worst one that I could possibly think of as a job, and I don't know if we'd count it as a job because Matt, you've just said they're rounded up by the black ships when they're kids, but surely the worst day-to-day fate is being one of the psychers that gets picked up and strapped to the Astronomicon. Because I thought they just got strapped up and their life force was sucked out and they died. But they're kept alive for ages. They're like mummified remains are being pumped full of, they're like comatose mummies being pumped full of life support, continuously in pain as their psychic life force gets like amplified and slowly drawn out till they die. That's got to be one of the worst day jobs.
Yeah.
You know, being caught as a psyker, I'm sure there must be like, I mean, I guess that we would hear about it because it's a fictional thing, not real life stats. But like, I'm sure there must be psychers that manage to like sneak under the radar and try to live, you know, on these feral worlds and things.
Definitely.
And surely that's better. And like, it's like I was just thinking with that shape-shifting assassin. Surely they're only catching the shape-shifting guys.
I think that it's not a genetic thing. I think they're pumped full of stuff. I think they're like mutated by the assassin house. I'm not 100%, but I think so.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, imagine the first time you inject with that, because the first time they get it, they basically just become like a blob. They just kind of like melt and then have to learn how to reconstruct themselves, or their arm gets massive, or
sounds
that's grim. Yeah, that's got to be worse. Comatose mummy as part of the Astronomicon has got to be the top bad job.
But then what about being in like the other thing that's got to really suck as well has got to be like being in a gene stealer cult and then having the gene stealers arrive, because it's like you spent all this time being like, yeah, cool, the gene stealers, yeah, wicked, and then they show up and they just like eat you basically, don't they? It's like
maybe I think some of them probably love it, don't they? They're probably diving head first into that haruspex. Like,
I have heard that
this is what I've been after all this time.
There must be some that are like, oh god damn it, I've made a terrible mistake.
For sure. There were some chaos things as well I looked up, but I figured like if you're doing some of these higher jobs for chaos, you're probably all about chaos anyway. So there was a Nurgling collector whose job is to literally go around and gather up the escaped Nurglings. But I reckon if you're doing that, then you probably love them, in your own.
That's got to be
Yeah.
kind of fun. That's just like whilst everyone else is having war, you're just like, come here, like, oh, come here, you little sneaky bugger. Or,
I mean, they're like little gimps. We didn't mention of them, did we?
They are. That's like that's basically the first gimp army is Nurglings. Yeah,
yeah.
There was those, and also spawn wranglers, which is more of like a human job from what I could tell. So yeah, the people being hired to try and contain the spawn, like you're doing like a kind of cowboy rodeo, but you're looking after chaos spawn, which I reckon's got a pretty high fatality rate. But again,
that's gonna suck.
If you're that involved in the chaos cult, then maybe you enjoy. Oh, this one's got 7 arms. You might love it.
Yeah, you might think they're kind of like sort of worship them as sort of like perfect deities or something, but
exactly.
They're still got to be pretty unruly. I can't imagine they're going to be that easy to look after. Don't want to give them a packet of Skittles. They'll be hyper for days.
So which one we've had all these bad jobs then? Which one would we, if we had to do one of those things, which one would we do?
What, if we got to choose one of those bad jobs?
Yeah.
I'll definitely be the Nurgling Wrangler. That actually sounds like I wouldn't like, to be fair, if I saw that in the paper tomorrow, I might apply for that. That sounds kind of fun. Just big net, just chasing around like little Nurglings. So yeah, why not?
Well, fuck it. I'll be a peasant on a feudal world.
You know what? I think I'd go and work for the Tau. There, I said it. That's what people wanted me to say.
Classic Welshie. Didn't you mean Eldar? Didn't you mean Eldar?
What I did think earlier when I was just preparing for the episode was that actually, what I would say is the best job in the Imperium is a rogue trader. I think that would be fucking amazing.
Yeah, definitely. That's got to be. You've just got like you're like the Han Solo. You've got all the power and like all the plot armor and like everything else. You can just cruise around. Yeah, it's brilliant. Doing what you want.
Yeah, I thought as soon as you started talking earlier about good jobs, Matt, that's the first thing that jumped into my head.
Yeah,
rogue trader. And I'm always surprised there's not more 40k book series about rogue traders, because it's I know there's a couple out there.
The thing is they're kind of
a big series about it.
The thing is they're kind of not that 40k in a way, because they just they've got like too much freedom and stuff. There's not this kind of like oppressive stuff hanging over them, like they can just kind of boot about like doing what they want, so it's even more so than the Inquisitor in a way.
Like the Inquisition can still come after them if they go too far.
Sure, and they're good as like plot devices for that, but kind of having a sort of main character with too much kind of power is a bit, they don't make a book about the Emperor, do they? They make it about the people around him, kind of thing. But
I'd like to see like a proper fight between a rogue trader and a Inquisitor. Real, like who has the most power in this situation?
Yeah. You know what? I think a lot of the best jobs are revolve around being an orc. Because they're just things like, I'm the mechanic, or like, or like the kicks the snotlings or whatever.
I'm the guy that accidentally makes everyone's guns better.
Yeah, exactly. Or the guy that plays rocking guitar or whatever. Cool, like they've just got like cool jobs.
I did think about whether like being a Gretchen slave was a bad job, but even they seem to be having a bit of a laugh with it. They seem incapable of realizing that it's as terrible as it probably is.
Yeah, they've got the Gretchen have a kind of a weird like abusive father relationship with the orcs, more than like a kind of a slave owner relationship. It seems like, where it's more kind of like a father than a like
maybe being the diggers that we've talked about before. It used to come with all Gorka Morka, the human orc slaves. Like that must be pretty bad as well.
Yeah, that'd be pretty bad. But then aren't they all like? Don't they convince themselves they're orcs? Aren't they all like
they
mad
definitely have some kind of Stockholm green and stuff. Going on. And I think maybe the diggers that survive are the ones that are the most fightiest, and therefore the orcs probably like having them round. Although scrap kind of thing.
Although you're right because we mentioned the penal legions and the last chances. In one of those books, they infiltrate a hive on Armageddon. And it's the one the orcs have taken over, and they've enslaved like literally billions of the humans that lived in that hive city. And they're enslaved to manufacture stuff for the orcs. And that's pretty And I mean, I know it's more forced labor than a job, but still, that's pretty grim.
Yeah.
That's pretty grim.
Yeah.
I tried to look up some bad jobs for the Eldar, but obviously I didn't get further than reading half a page because it's Eldar. But I did think it would be quite cool to be one of their bone singers as good jobs go, wouldn't it? To be able to kind of like
Do they read
magic
the bones?
structures up into they're like the architects that build stuff, like they weave. Yeah, it's, I suppose it's like weaving bones. Yeah, But that's quite a cool thing as a craft goes, isn't it, to make that stuff.
I mean, we talked before about how there's probably some like really boring number crunching, soul destroying number crunching jobs in the Imperium, but I can imagine that there's probably the same for Eldar as well, where it's just like, oh, you've got to calligraphize this book of poetry or something, you know?
Yeah, and you get to live forever basically, and you have to do that.
I think they probably enjoy that though. They probably feel like they're contributing to the artistry.
That'd be quite funny. But still, they're all down the pub after a hard day calligraphizing, and then all of a sudden, some guy comes in. It's like, I'm the bone singer. I've been doing bone singing all day.
Some guy in the corner's been polishing soul stones.
Exactly.
Slowly rubbing his own soul away, one stone at a time.
Some say the stones took my soul. Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we've done it there. I think we've discussed the best and worst jobs in 40k. If you've got anything you want to say, then send us a message on LinkedIn, and we'll respond to you post haste. All right, everybody, you know what time it is. It's that time of the show. It's back again after popular demand. It's the random topic generator, where we take the company dice sealed in its radium container, which I believe Welshie is unveiling as we speak, and he is going to roll it, which will help us to
it's
determine.
It's a 4, and a 4 is you guys have the option of combining any 2 demon models to make your perfect lover. Top half one, bottom half other. Which are you going for? It's a classic top half, bottom half, but you can only pick from demons.
Only demons, okay. Oh, this is.
And let's make it even more difficult. You've got to have a top and bottom half from 2 different gods.
From 2 different gods,
yeah, because otherwise we can go Slanesh.
Yeah.
That would be cheating.
Yeah, you can't go boobs on top, boobs on bottom.
No, definitely
not. Oh well, it's a tricky one. It's a difficult one. I think that I'm going to go though top half. You know, that's going to be my Slanesh half. It's got to be. It's the most booby. It's the most booby faction in the entire game. Like the old school theme.
Are you going Seeker for the big long tongue?
I was thinking Seeker for the kind of cow udder of worth of breasts that it has down it.
But you've got to deal.
Oh no, not the Seeker. No, not the Seeker. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Fiend. No, I'm thinking of the Fiend.
Oh, the Fiend.
But the big kind of weird thing with many breasts all down its torso.
Yeah.
But you've got to deal with the crab arms. You know.
Yeah.
But
that's a dangerous handy. What are you going to mix that with though? Yeah, you've got a very sexy, sensual top there.
Well, that's the tricky. That's tricky, isn't it? You know, so I've got party up the top. I've got there's a lot going on. What do I want to go down? Maybe I should just focus on the top. Maybe I should go nurgling legs, tiny legs, like so it's just like kind of like a walking stack of breasts with crab arms, like. Maybe, I think that'll be my perfect 40k demon wife. So that's what I'm going to go for.
Okay, excellent, Matt.
Well, what are you going for?
Oh well, I was hoping to go last because the possibilities are endless. I'm thinking. I mean, you're going to have some Slanesh there. I want the stockings, you know. I want the stockings. I'm going keeper of secret legs. I'm going the opposite of Stony. I want the big,
massive
long,
legs,
luscious legs. I'm going to have to deal with the hooves, but even the hooves in their own way are kind of sensual. So we're going to go
right. And at least they're smooth
legs
as well. It's like if you're going with like corn, you've got the hooves, but it's quite hairy up top there. The corn. I think you're going to be dealing with quite a bramble bushy kind of pubic area with corn, I can imagine.
Yeah, that's true. So I was thinking those for legs, and then top half I was thinking Nurgle's difficult because you know it's all going to be smelly, But I was thinking of all the kind of things you could do with old Sloppity Bile Piper's pipes. But maybe they're not the kind of pipes you'd want to get involved with. So I think I'm going to go Bloodletter, because at least they're quite smooth. They're quite ripped. You know, they're
always horny.
As Corn Demons goes, they got some horns, they got a big old tongue. I'm going to go top half Bloodletter, bottom half Keeper of Secrets.
So they're going to be a wild thing up top there. They're going to be all
yeah.
That's quite interesting. I've actually just been looking through the pictures to kind of refresh my mind on this chaos stuff, and I would go for the bottom half of the Bloodletters. What are they called? The Corn Demons.
Have they got the kind of backwards knees on the bottom?
They've got
half?
backwards.
Yeah,
But I think you're going to be
Backwards
dealing
knees.
with that quite a lot in most of them. Yeah,
But I would,
you're going to have to get used to a backward knee.
But I would go crabby. I'd deal with the crab claws just through all the tits, so I'd get a demonette's top half.
Oh, okay. Yours is definitely the smallest. I've realised that what you've cleverly done there is you've mixed two animals, two demons of the same size, whereas I've got quite a small Bloodletter body on top of a massive pair of Keeper of Secret legs. It's going to look very strange.
That is true. I've gone the other way. I think those fiends are on like a 40 mil base or a 60 mil base or something as well. So if my new demon bride can even stand up, then I will be very surprised. Well, that might help me escape the pincering that I would no doubt, because you got to if we're marrying these demon brides as I believe, or taking a demon bride as they say when you bang a demon.
It's all those people who bang demons say.
Exactly, it's all those brave adventurers that got lost in the warp and needs must have said. It's very it's a very up down relationship, isn't it? Like one minute they're all like tits and blowjobs, and the next minute they're all crab arms and nurgling asses. So you've got a really a real mixed bag. So you want to be able to get away from them quickly as well. I think is quite important.
Yeah, that is true, and that's why you've picked the tiny.
I've gone with the legs. I've hobbled them. I've done it.
I'm not getting away. That's for sure. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you hit one stride and you've been outpaced. Yeah,
well,
and Max, it's an even race. So.
If you're the author of 40,000 Dicks and this has inspired you, do email us at Large Blast Podcast to ask for the rights to any of these stories.
It's about time we released our book of fanfic. We need to do it. The first bit of LBP merch. So, Lords of Lore quiz. You know what time it is? It's that time where I pit Matt and Welshie against each other in an excellent quiz called the Lords of Lore quiz. Are you guys ready for Lords of Lore?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Lords of Lore. So, let me think here. Cool. So, right, if in the year 40,000 they had Ritz crackers, what would the salt nutritional? What would the nutritional salt value be?
Stoney, are you eating a box of Ritz crackers? Is this another? I thought we'd sorted this Lords of Lore problem out by now.
All right, okay. I admit it. I didn't think of a Lords of Lore, but I've got one now. All right, let's do a guess who I am. We've done those before. They're quite fun, right?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So
are you salty and round and biscuity?
For an extra point, what is my salt nutritional value? Okay, so I'm thinking of a 40,000 person. You guys have to work as a team and to try to guess who I am. And I'll give you what's it? 20 questions typically, isn't it? So
we're working as a team. Okay.
By work as a team, I hope you mean guess the answer first.
Working as a team, but secretly I will be judging you and giving you points. Yes,
excellent, good.
Are you a female?
No, I'm not. I'm not a female.
He gave a bit away there because he almost said, "I am not a person."
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's because I was thinking about Ritz crackers again. To be fair, so
are you, or were you ever a human?
I am a human.
Were you ever in the Space Marine Legions?
Yes.
Were you a named character in the Space Marine Legions?
I got a name.
Are you Fabius Bile?
No.
This is way too early to waste a question on guessing.
Matt's like, are you a man? Are you a Space Marine? Are you? It's got. I know who it is. It's that Space Marine.
Are you still loyal to the Emperor?
Oh yeah, baby. Every day.
Are you of captain rank or higher?
Yes.
Can I just... So, you were in the Legion?
Was I or am I?
I asked before and you said you were in the Legion.
I was in a legion.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that then? Do you just
Well,
mean was I just in a legion of Space Marines? Like,
Yeah, which would imply you're from 30k and 40k.
I think I am. I think I am. I think I don't know. But I would say more one than the other. But I probably was.
In which? Probably was in which?
I probably was in both, but I'm definitely in one more than the other.
He's not giving away which one of those two.
I don't want. Yeah, that's a question right there.
Were you more famous in the years between 29k and 32k than you are between around 40k?
No, I would say I'm more famous currently, which would be the year 2000.
Hang on a minute. I think you might be playing us on because he said we'd currently be in the year 2000 and something. Are you Gav Thorpe?
No, I'm not. No.
I thought this might all have been some kind of ruse.
No. I wouldn't have struggled to answer that if I was captain level or above that. If it was Gav Thorpe, you would have known. Oh, that's halfway, by the way. That's 10 questions. So you got 10 more.
So you said you were captain level.
I think so. I'm pretty sure I am. I'm a big lad though. Whatever I am, I'm top dog, baby.
Top dog who really loves the Emperor is going to be one of
Calgar.
Yeah, it is.
Are you Calgar?
It's Calgar. Yeah,
that was one of the three.
All right, Matt,
Calgar, then Dante or Mephisto.
Yeah.
Three left.
Okay, Matt. Well, that was question 11, so you can get 11 points. The more questions you ask, the more points you get. That's the way it works. Okay, cool.
So you don't have to think of any more characters to pretend to be.
That's right. Yes, I'm looking at trying to get 20 questions out of it. All right, I need to think of a new person, and I have thought of a new person. I'm ready to go. New person locked in. 20 questions. Let's go.
Feeling there, and I'm just going to jump in. I'm just going. Are you Commander Shadow Sun?
No, I'm not. No,
I just had a real gut feeling there. Maybe it's my secret love of
yeah, that was just your Shadow Son talking to you.
I keep getting feeling that you're Gazgirl Thraka.
Look, guys, I love the just randomly getting off the top of the back, you know. But
we get one feeling guess.
I really do. Yeah, I really.
All right, okay,
but no, I'm not Gazgirl either. No.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Are you human?
I've forgotten who I fucking was now. Okay, no, I'm not. I'm not human. No.
Are you a Xenos?
I am.
Obviously. What else would he be?
That must have been
demon?
what I was sending to you guys. That must have been
fair.
what you were picking up on.
I shouldn't have come at you there. He could be a demon.
Or a Necron? I guess a Necron is Xenos.
Xenos though.
Yeah. Okay, you're a Xenos.
Are you a Necron?
No, I'm not a Necron.
Are you an Eldari?
I believe I was but I definitely am. I don't know what I am, but I'm definitely Eldar related.
Okay.
Are you the Avatar of Kane?
Yeah, that's right. And that was question 7. So
I'm playing it all wrong.
7 points. All right, okay. Right, I'm thinking of another person. All right, no. Before we go, I want to get your instinct guesses before off the bat. I'm going to try to psychically project.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I've got it.
All right, Matt. What is it?
Leman Russ battle tank.
No, it isn't.
Are you Trazin the Infinite?
No, I wasn't. I was thinking about him last time though. So I was like, yeah, you're one behind. All right. Okay. So
Literally the worst thing to be when predicting the future.
Yeah. Exactly.
Are
Right.
you a human?
Yes, I am.
Are you a loyalist?
I am.
Are you in the Imperial Guard?
I am.
Oh, this is going well.
Are you a high-ranking officer?
I am.
Are you, who I think is probably the only high-ranking officer, you
Yeah.
know, Commissar Yarrick by any chance?
I am. That's right.
Ah.
Welshie getting in there for 5 points. Like,
That puts me in the lead by
it
one.
does. All right, cool. Well, I guess we better have another round then. The finishing round.
Okay.
Worth minus 15 points for each one. All right. Okay. I've got a guy. This is a tricky one.
Yeah.
20 questions, rounding it out. Each question worth minus 15,000 points. Let's go.
Are you human?
No.
Are you Xenos?
No.
No. Okay. Well,
It's happened.
it's happened.
I think
Are
I picked
you-
something up from the warp.
Oh yeah, we didn't do our warp guesses.
Oh yeah, you didn't. Yeah.
Oh, well. Are you Slaneshi?
I am not. No.
This is good because if we keep getting it wrong, it
Are
becomes
you-
progressively easier.
Are you like a thing of chaos?
I am a thing of chaos.
Okay.
Are you Vashtor the Archifane?
I am not Vashtor the Archifane.
Are you an inanimate object?
Kind
Wait.
of.
Kind of.
Ooh.
Okay.
Are you Fulgrim's dildo?
Although I have been called that in the past, I am not that. Please stop emailing me about that. Yes.
Have you been mentioned before on the podcast?
Probably. Not like regularly.
Okay.
Kind of an inanimate object.
Are you in the current Games Workshop model range?
I am. Front page of GW, baby. That's how far I researched.
Ooh.
I wouldn't say I was inanimate. Like, I'm not like a stone.
Are you
But
a
you're a-
demon engine of some kind?
I am a demon engine of some kind. Yes, that's 10 questions now.
Well, Matt, you get the next one. Start guessing demon engines.
Demon engines. Are you a defiler?
I am not. No.
We mentioned that a lot on the
Hmm.
podcast.
Hmm.
Front page. All right. Best demon engine in the game right now is a Forge Fiend. Are you a Forge Fiend?
I am not a forge fiend. No.
Are you the flyer? What's the flyer called? A Helldrake?
I am not the Helldrake. No.
Ah, shit.
Are you a Venom Crawler?
Nope.
Oh, this is heating up.
Are you a Chaos Rhino?
Nope. Remember, you asked me if I was Slanesh before. All of these things can be Slanesh,
Oh,
and I
yeah,
was like,
okay.
none of those.
Ah!
Oh, are
Are
you a
you
Lord
a-
of Skulls?
I am the Lord of Skulls.
Oh.
Welshie, you win with minus 15,000 points, and for a bonus point, what's the salt content of a Lord of Skulls? Let's go.
57 calories.
57.
13.7 grams per 100 grams.
That's right, Welshie. You get a bonus 15,000 points on the totally non-confusing scoring point system of the Lords of Lore quiz. Thank you for joining us. I've been your host, Stoney. Say goodbye, everybody.
Salt for the salt
Bye.
throne.